see if they can keep that level of growth going as we move into picks and bans for game number 1 between Samsung and CJ.
Talia. Oh.
Talia, yes, of course. You gotta ban it.
All right, Italy, Twisted Fate. Let's go.
Not too hard to predict. You are a seer of picks and bans.
So if Crown gets the Victor, or CJ decides that it's not worth letting him have that. Sky has now played on Victor this season.
We will see. The final ban is going to be for each of these teams as Gangplank is banned out by CJ against Kube.
Now he can first pick Shen, though. Utara would love to get his hands onto Shen if it does fall into the first round of the draft on the red side. There's the Hecarim, so bans easy to predict here.
Oh yeah. So we'll see what CJ's got. I mean, Longju showed us a lot of picks we weren't expecting today. Maybe CJ's got something planned as well. Wishful thinking maybe on my part, but we'll see.
Yeah, Utara's still pretty much a tank top player. He doesn't really do anything else. They are going to remove an Azir. This could be an early Victor pick for CJ. As a result, are they going to first pick the Shen? Or Gragas would be my guess here.
Yeah, either one would be pretty good. Ambition, of course, playing backside the most, but they will go for the first pick Nara. It really does seem like it's reaching that level of priority here in Korea.
If you can't play Yasuo, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't think Utara can play Yasuo. I'd be pretty surprised. Like you said, he's been nearly all a tank top laner. By far, the most played champion for the season is Maokai, next is Trundle. So I'd be pretty surprised if we saw a Yasuo out of him. Well,
Trundle's still, of course, an option into the Gnar because we've seen people sort of skate by in that matchup with the triple rejuvenation bead start.
Can be, yeah.
So definitely not out of the question here for CJ, but if they don't take it now, Samsung may just grab it as support in the next round of the draft and remove that opportunity as well. Tahm Kench, of course, we've seen certainly raised in priority.
Yep. All right, so they will take that. Tahm Kench and Sivir. And do you take
Crown, of course, a noted Yasuo player, but we're not going to see it here today. Question is whether they want to go with the Victor or the Varus, two of Crown's best champions. Victor a little bit safer as a blind pick. And it's also a denial pick from Sky because his champion pool is pretty shallow.
And it doesn't take too much of a stretch to imagine days coming now where we're going to see things like, you know, Varus, Corki, or something like that.
Oh, yes.
Poke comps. And they will take the Trundle, too, like you mentioned.
Yep, so Trundle, just a denial pick for CJ. They don't want the stats from the Gnar getting sapped.
Right.
So now there's a chance here for CJ to counter-pick both solo lanes. Of course, being able to flex the Tahm Kench. Crucial. Vladimir for Sky. And the Gragas falling a little bit in priority over this as Samsung really tries to attack the champion pools of Antara and Sky over prioritizing counter picks or power picks for themselves.
Vladimir Gragas, perhaps. Aru has played a lot of champions, like Graves this season, which has been pretty interesting. But he will grab the Gragas this time.
CJ getting a lot of power picks. We've seen so many bans against all four of the champions that they have right now, but this is what happens with certain teams, is that if you're only capable of winning with pocket picks, then once those are banned away from you, even if you get a bunch of power picks, you still can't piece together a victory. And until you prove that you are capable of taking down teams with the most powerful picks, then you're never going to be able to get your pocket picks back again.
Yeah. Well, with a Ashe Elise pickup for Samsung, they really would be putting all their eggs in the Victor basket, but Crown is 32% of this team's damage right now, so it seems like a pretty safe place to put it.
Which is the highest in the league, by the way.
Yeah.
So he has been doing the lion's share of the work in team fights.
Another thing to note here is that Ruler will be playing that Ashe, which should be pretty interesting, and I believe that this is actually his first Ashe of the season. No, it's actually
absolutely
not. Never mind.
Yeah, he's been having a lot of Ash banned against him because it was such a threat. The First Blood has been really, really good between him and Wraith and Ambition, and having that early slow has proved valuable on Ambition's early jungle invades. So Mad Life may be returning. No! Ooh. Potentially looking at a Taric pick here. But Mad Life, of course, classically on the Bard, and that's what it's going to be. And I think the Bard is better here with the composition that they have. It provides another form of engage so that Vlad can get into proper positioning for the team fights. Helps you close the gap with the Vladimir. So it gives you insurance as to whether you want to use the Gragas, Cask, or the Bard. So strong engage here from CJ Entus. Have the Sivir to be helping out also. And Atara will be going tank top, to the surprise of none.
Yep. Pretty safe comp overall, though, for Samsung, so let's see what they can do with it.
The nice thing if you're Samsung when you prepare for CJ is that because Shy and Antara have both been playing almost exclusively tank top laners, it's really, really easy for you to prepare one strategy against both tops. And when Shy rather played that GP the other day, it was underwhelming. And you can't give it to Cubey because Cubey's shown that he could be an absolutely dominating top gangplank.
Yep. And so, CJ, well out of playoff contention. Almost certainly going to relegations. I think they're kind of guaranteed at this point. So really, it's all just kind of practice here for them. Meanwhile, Samsung, a win here could really help them out. I mean, they want to stay at least in fourth place, at least stay firmly in the playoff picture. And they should be able to do just that. So we will see. Game number 1, Samsung versus CJ Entus. Let's get in the game. Mountain Drake. All right, welcome. Summoner's Rift. Game number 1 between Samsung and CJ Entus in our second best of 3 of the night. And we are getting closer and closer to the end of the regular season. Every match matters quite a bit, especially for a team like Samsung.
I really like Samsung's draft for this game 1, though. I think it's intelligent for them to just go on the blue side for the pocket bans, and then most of the time you wouldn't see on blue side both solo lanes solo pick or blind pick like this, but they've just taken away everything that CJ feels comfortable with by doing this, and not cared at all if they give up some of the most powerful picks in the current meta, and said, all right, CJ, prove to us that you can win with these picks, because otherwise we're just going to keep doing this to you, and every other team will as well.
So it looks like we are going to have our first lane swap of the night. None of them in our first match.
We'll check right there. That's a cute volatile spider link going into the lane to see if there is going to be a delayed invade.
Well, yeah.
Well, you came to a CJ game.
I was going to say we're watching CJ, so it's definitely possible. Yeah. Yep. Land. A lot of harassment coming from Mad Life on this blue buff. Cuvée finally chasing it back.
Yeah, later than normal though. Samsung was cautious and checked for a hidden guard in the brush, so Cuvée will take the brunt of the damage, but the harassment not actually doing a whole lot. And we're going to see actually a strong side jungle start here from CJ Entus. They're going to have to double back now for their blue buff. That is a bit rough for a Gragas starting out. Let's keep an eye on where Untara and Haru are going to go.
Meanwhile, Wraith going really deep, checking to try to find where those guys are at.
That's really smart. He now knows that they haven't done any of their jungle, so they can just head over there immediately and then double back for the red buff later. Yep. Good, smart pathing start for Samsung. They just eliminated the possibility of the danger early on, and it'll be a 3-buff start for that Vision.
Now Haru coming down now. He's gonna take the spiders first. We'll see if he can actually grab the blue buff. I suppose Ruler and Wraith will come up and help.
Yeah. So a little bit of a steal there. But yeah, you can't really try and make a play for this blue buff unless you want the Gnar to show up. And now that the Wolf Spirit is out there and Bishop knows exactly where Haru is, there's really no chance of counterplay.
Yeah, just got to go back up.
That's a bummer, as we're seeing right there. That is a bummer for Haru.
There's really nowhere for him to jungle except for the Rift Sculler. That's all he can go for right now.
So it's fine for CJ to do this kind of lane swap if they are set up to invade immediately after the jungle camp spawn, so that this doesn't happen to Haru. Basically, by not having anybody there in the river brush to stop this, they've just allowed Samsung to get 3/4 of the jungle, which is tough. Tough for Gragas.
First lane's going down. You know, in the end, though, this was a CS moment anyway, even between the two jungles. But
well, yeah, but Haru
Ambition will catch up now that he's got this whole other quarter of the jungle to take.
Yeah, this quadrant is going to put him ahead, and Haru also had to walk all the way from his wolves while he ran around in circles by the blue buff to the opposite Gromp.
Yeah.
And now he just gets one Raptor camp and recalls. Meanwhile, Ambition is just going to get more of a clear here. It's not the end of the world, but take every little advantage you can get.
Pretty much. Aside from that, pretty much the standard stuff. But Ambition will be a level up on Haru for a little while.
Yes, he will. So Samsung still pushing up here, swapping back into the top side of the map. And of course, we see the same thing in the bot lane. Neither top laner quite there yet. Looks like we have a little bit of a faster take here for Samsung as Gnar will be joining them.
Yeah.
A bit quicker.
They'd probably expect that. Vision coming up. Go back into the enemy jungle, see what you can see. Yep, just put a ward down.
Stick a ward.
Oh yeah. Slam a ward.
Is that your extreme ward ad? Extreme warding? Is that what you do?
Ward.
Is that what you do as a bloodthirsty support? Extreme warding?
That's right. I'm like surfing on a wave and I'm just like slam a ward and I just like backflip off the surfboard and slam into the beach.
Wow, that'd be really impressive.
I know. That's why I'm talking about it.
I think you're missing out on perhaps a more lucrative career opportunity, Doa.
Make commercials for soft drinks,
or really just
just
doing what you just said. I'm pretty sure you could make a lot of money doing that.
It's possible. First, I need to live by an ocean, learn to surf, find a way to like 3D print some wards. I'll get some camera equipment. I'm almost there, though.
Okay, good. Doesn't sound like there's much left to be done.
No, pretty much there. I'm ready. I've seen Point Blank.
The first step to any successful surfing career.
And surf ninjas.
Sounds more like surf ninjas to me. I still haven't seen surf ninjas though.
We'll watch it sometime.
Okay.
I know I've said that before, but I mean it. I mean it this time. We'll sit down and watch some surf ninjas. It'll be great.
Ash returning up here to the top lane right now. This may give CJ an opportunity to go for the first Drake.
Well, the Mountain Drake is pretty important.
Wraith and Ruler both showing in the top side. Pink ward's already down, so it looks like a nice opportunity here. Unfortunately, Haru is currently at his Krugs, and he's seen up there by a pink ward. It's probably why Samsung is making this decision. They can actually be there faster than Haru can. Bummer.
Uh-oh. Well, speaking of getting to places, Cuvée gets exhausted. He's going to bounce out, though. Maybe not a summoner that needed to be used. I suppose they traded exhaust for flash. It's okay.
Cuvée definitely had to flash that.
Yeah, so they probably didn't need to use the exhaust in the end. In retrospect,
I really think Haru's pathing has not been good this game. They just gave up a potential free Drake because he was up in the top side of the map, about as far away from Drake as he could be while still being in his own jungle.
I guess so.
Time for some quality crab licking.
Quality, huh? Only the highest quality crab licking.
I don't blame
Tom Kench.
I don't blame Tom Kench. I like putting crabs in my mouth too.
You know, I gotta say, if you get them at a restaurant right on the coast, they're really fresh.
They are.
Delicious.
Go to the fish market in Seoul.
Yep.
They just have tanks of crabs, and you select one.
Then
they steam it for you, and you eat it right away. It's delicious.
It's so good. One of my favorite things about living in Seoul is going there. It's expensive, but it's worth it. Once in a while. You know, we should really be like tourism ambassadors for Seoul. You know, because we not only are familiar now with a lot of the cultural things that tourists want to see, but we're experts in esports too.
Yeah, I think we should be sponsored by the city of Seoul.
I think we definitely should. And Keswa should definitely sponsor. They love us, I've heard.
Anji and Doha, beloved by Keswa.
Ah, yes. If there's anyone in Korea that truly loves us, it is certainly Keswa. Yep.
Well, Samsung.
Wow, they're going to get it. Huh.
What do you say? They pushed up the top side. The pink ward that was placed down early on was tracking Haru's movements. They knew it was safe to assign Ruler to that lane to really get him some nice CS, and they push it up and double back over to the Mountain Drake. Just solid macro and lane assignments from Samsung based on their knowledge of where the enemy champions are.
Yeah. CJ is kind of getting straight up outmaneuvered so far. But this has really been a team this year that has had very, very little go right, you know. So you see a game like this from CJ, and unfortunately it's just kind of been par for the course.
That's very true. Well, at least they are only 400 gold behind. They are 10th place out of 10 teams at gold differential at 15 minutes on average. They do, the one upshot to CJ, which we didn't see this game, is that they're normally good at getting first dragon. They're number 2 at getting first dragon, but unfortunately for CJ, many times when they get first dragon, they would sacrifice top lane farm for it, and then we'd see a top lane snowball form for the other team. So basically Shy or Antara were constantly playing from behind in the 1v1 matchup. So it hasn't been worthwhile for them, and they've...
Look at this, Crown. I think in the bot lane. Interesting.
A little bit weird that he would be there so quickly, and that Ruler would be in the mid lane before completing Hurricane. Very early assignment of the AD carry.
I mean, I guess with Dragon out of the way, it's not a big deal if that lane is pushed in for a while.
The other aspect of it is this game, though, it's a teleport victory. So
yeah, true.
That's not something we see very often. Almost always it is going to be a ghost onto Victor. Most Korean teams will be running that. But with Crown on TP, you can assign the Ashe to the mid lane even earlier. And because Sky has itemized with the Spirit Visage, that's going to be punishing.
True.
Samsung really playing this early game well.
Yeah, very crisp. And I mean, again, this is a big opportunity for them. They really do need a 2-0 kind of solidify that 4th place spot. I would say right now they're 9-5 and 4th above the 7-6 Afrika Freaks.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of ground for anybody to cover to catch up to Samsung right now, but yeah, depending on how the rest of the season go, they may be able to even rise higher than that if one of the teams above them starts to falter. Well,
you know, if they win today, which you would imagine they probably would, they would at least bounce up to 3rd place for the moment anyway, having 1 win more than KT. Even though you'd expect KT to take that one back pretty quick.
Yeah, KT been doing, I think, on the eye test, just a little bit better. KT will have also played 1 fewer match.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. At the end of the day, though, when you're getting near the end of the regular season like this, and you've got teams, you know, still moving around pretty fluidly, every match matters. Ashe Arrow onto Haru, gets saved by the Tempered Fate for the moment. Mad Life and the rest of CJ coming in. Haru able to flash away. And so Mad Life really saving the day there with that Tempered Fate, preventing First Blood from going over to Samsung.
Yeah, cost them 2 pretty big ultimates, however, with Untara also using the Abyssal Voyage in addition to the Tempered Fate. And they get a flash, too. So yeah. Samsung They didn't have anything else to do, and what they also accomplished was preventing CJ from farming deep in their own territory. So just a nice pressure play to get a little bit of an edge, and now they can turn that into a Rift Herald.
Yeah, and getting this Rift Herald for Kube is going to be pretty strong in the 1v1. He's already doing well in the CS department. There's just nothing CJ can do. They don't even know what's going on. Well, they can probably guess, but they don't have any vision over it anyway.
That Rift Herald really hates spiders, smashing him left and right. That's not nice. Spiders are great.
Yeah, man. I mean, especially in Korea. We've said this before, but we love spiders because they eat mosquitoes.
Also dragonflies.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things about Korean summer. One of the very few good things that is, as it gets so hot and humid here, has been the dragonflies. They're very lovely to look at.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Seeing them flit about at night. Raised the setting sun. Oh, Wraith. Some may be setting on his life as he gets very low. Manages to be saved in the end by that summoner heal for Ruler. Has to flash away. Still no first blood for either team.
Yeah, team's making the right plays, though. While each team is farming on their side of the map, it's the typical group and try and do something in the mid lane.
Oh, yes.
Still be hard for Ruler to clear this out. But with double teleport, looks like we are seeing Samsung get the better end of the farm. They are able just to clear more waves at the same time. Of course, we had Utara sort of pop over into the mid lane when Samsung was playing aggressively, and Sky not able to really respond if he's in that bottom side of the map.
Ha! Ha! Ha!
Take that, minions.
Just loves killing minions. I don't know, what can you say?
How many random noises and shouting do you think Kled is going to do?
A lot. Short answer. A real lot. A long answer. Mountain Drake coming up again in about 15 seconds. And if... Alright, Haru going in, taking the magical journey, the arrow misses. But either way, Samsung, if they can put a lot of pressure on this mid lane, they can just, yeah, do what they're doing right now and rotate down towards that Drake. And 2 Mountain Drakes would be ridiculous for this team this early in the game.
The threat would be huge on the Baron right at spawn.
Absolutely. And I just don't see CJ putting on a lot of reverse pressure in the next couple minutes to stop this.
Slowly working for it, Ambition. Let's go take the red buff before there's a chance of any action. It's not really a need for Samsung to have this many people in the mid lane, though. They can pretty much see everybody here from CJ, and they could push up a little bit more on the top side with their 2 TPs.
True. I feel like Samsung, okay, there's Cocoon on the Haru, a little bit of damage there, and that's big to be able to poke out the jungler like that. A little bit of healing. Oh, Ambition has to flash, avoiding the body slam. Utara, though, saves his jungler as the Chaos Storm does come down.
That was a good bait on the Chaos Storm. That actually didn't do much of anything at all.
Yeah.
But the price was a Tempered Fate, and on the hunt.
I feel like Samsung just waits a couple seconds till the Ash Arrow's up next and then goes for a pick themselves. We'll see. They're going to go for this mid lane turret at the same time. And they will get it. Wow. Just like that.
Samsung just suffocating in the early game here. They haven't given CJ many opportunities, and CJ, I feel like, has not taken advantage of them. And I think we got a point to Haru in this one. The early jungle pathing cost them a lot.
Well, it's going to cost them another Drake. 2 mountains already. And it's going to be an Ocean Drake next. Looks like. I love our little next Drake thing now.
So exciting.
So useful.
We finally get it.
Yeah.
Took a while, but
we did it ourselves.
Were you sweating over Photoshop to make that, though?
No, I wasn't. I could have, but I didn't. You don't really sweat over Photoshop, though. It's like I don't know, there was like some guy the other day that was saying he was sweating in anger about video games being on ESPN. I'm like, wow, That is some intense anger. I don't think I've ever recall sweating from anger. Have you ever sweat from anger?
Only when I was punching someone at the same time.
Well, that's the thing. There has to be some physical component, right? But he's just typing. He's just making a tweet.
That was a really funny tweet.
Typing as hard as he can, sweating from anger. These games on my TV channel. How will I go on?
That is my favorite part about ESPN doing more esports events is I just sit there while this is happening, and I just look at the mentions for ESPN and just start cackling in glee.
Yeah. It is a good spectator sport, isn't it? You know? And then everyone's like, well, is esports really a sport? And I'm like, well, who cares?
That's my favorite argument.
Yeah.
People seem really interested in that for some reason.
I don't know why. I mean,
if it's not a sport, can I not enjoy it?
Yeah.
What?
I can't. Sorry. Unfortunately, lots of things in life aren't sports. You know, cooking isn't a sport. Sorry. I don't care what Bobby Flay tells you.
How about Iron Chef?
Okay, that's a sport. All right, they're going to turn this one around. CJ looking a little bit out of sorts here. Teleport brings Crown in. Oh, they're going to go right into the Tempered Faith, though. Samsung has to turn this one around, but they're going to lose their jungler first. They're going to lose two. CJ finds a fight they're looking for. Only one kill coming in from Ruler before he dies. Now Cuvée and Wraith on the run.
Abyssal Voyage.
That was a super awkward fight. I think Cuvée is almost certainly going to die on his way out of this one.
He's got his Mega Gnar, but it's not going to save him.
Bounce. He's like, sorry, gotta bounce. Kramer, though, meanwhile, doing the smart thing and going for this mid lane turret. And it's like a boss battle, but eventually Sky will take out this Gnar someday. There we go, okay. And he'll get the mid lane turret for it, too, so Samsung making a pretty colossal mistake in the jungle there.
Yeah, handing over the gold lead back to CJ Entus.
Wow.
Splitting up a bit. And once the arrow misses, like, why are you still even walking forward right now? Yeah. They split in this attempt to actually get something. Cuvée is not anywhere close to Mega Gnar. Delayed TP, and then the Tempered Fate. This is what Bard is useful for with the Vladimir. You get him into a team fight so he can do that massive amount of damage. But nothing about that was set up. No more arrow, no Mega Gnar, like nothing you can do if you're Samsung in that situation. They didn't back off after their engage was stuffed. And remember, the Ash Arrow is their only form of engage. Otherwise, it's easy for CJ Entus to turn on them and outmaneuver them with the Sivir.
Man, that was definitely one of the most awkward situations I've seen Samsung get in this season.
Well, they were confident because of how well the early game was going, but it's only 20 minutes in.
Yeah, you can't position yourself like that.
All they had to do was just force them back. They would always be able to farm more waves.
I'll pick on the Crown here. He's going to have to flash to avoid the Cosmic Binding. Mad Life flashed for that too, so it was Summoner for Summoner. The end.
It could have just been just a slow snowball for Samsung, continuing to run CJ around the map instead. Overcommit to a fight. Yeah. Bit of disrespect there. But CJ has a shot.
They do. Got a chance now. They are still down 2 Mountain Drakes, so if any of the turrets or if Baron gets left alone for even a short amount of time, Samsung can really push their edge that way.
Well, that's the other thing too, right, is that when you have the 2 Mountain Drakes, there's no need to fight. You can play a pure macro game from that standpoint. You still had your mid lane turret too, so you'd be pretty much guaranteed to take over both sides of the enemy jungle. And the Baron baiting would have been powerful for Samsung, considering the speed at which they could do it. And if any split push ever got going with double TP, well, that would be pretty much it for the turret. They would fall. Yep. Samsung really not playing to the advantage that they acquired with the double Mountain Drake early.
Very true. That Ocean Drake will be coming up to about 35 now. Not as vital for either of these teams to really pick that one up. But it is always nice to have that regen.
Helps maintain the split push if you're Samsung.
It does do that. That's true.
Cuvée going for the Spirit Visage first against a team composition that is overwhelmingly AP. Kramer holding down the fort on the attack damage, but magic resist is powerful on the side of Samsung, and we already see Wraith building into... Oh, Kramer got stuck.
Oh, that's awkward. All right, Mintara, though, gonna suck him into the loving mouth. Tom can show Kube. Getting caught, has to back off a little bit there. Ambition on the side, though, finds the kill on the Mad Life.
Just soloed him as he came through the magical journey.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be an easy Drake.
No kidding.
Samsung.
That was so fast I almost didn't see it. All right, well, easy Ocean Drake for Samsung.
Ambition destroying his old teammate.
Feels good if you're Ambition, not so good if you're Mad Life. All right, they're going to try to make a play on the Crown and Ruler here. Now Wraith blocks out Sky. Crown takes a bit of damage, but able to speed boost his way out of there with the Q. Drops the Chaos Storm, though. The Haru.
Optimistic, but
it was.
Abyssal Voyage can be used like that, however. It's not, you want to continuously try and make plays with it as opposed to just saving it, especially if you have your teleport up.
It is a pretty low cooldown ultimate, too, so if it doesn't work out, you're going to have it back up pretty soon anyway.
So back to farming. We had a brief period of excitement, Doa.
Well, let's relive it through this replay.
Let us relive it, indeed.
Good times.
How did Mad Life... So he gets stunned.
Yeah.
And then he magical... Oh,
hi.
Oh.
Whoops.
Mad Life. And he was actually killed during his ult channel. So he didn't quite finish that. I don't know why he would magical journey into a brush where he had no vision. Really wanted to get some sort of flank play in, but with as squishy as Bard is, Ambition able to, with the Proto Belt as a second item, take him out.
An awkward moment for the support legend that is Mad Life.
Mad Life has not been having a good season.
Nope.
In the spring, he was basically, especially in the first round robin before BDD got there, CJ went a surprising 4-5 despite having what looked like a really bad roster, and a lot of that was because Mad Life and Kramer really showed up, but we have not been seeing the same Mad Life here in the summer that we saw in spring, where he's no longer able to drag his team seemingly single-handedly to victories.
There's only so much carrying you can do as a support. Temper Fate onto Ambition and Wraith, though. CJ trying to find an opportunity here. They pop the Silver ultimate. Nice. Ambition takes a lot of damage, gets bounced out. Kramer with a kill there.
Yeah, that was actually really well played by Mad Life, right as we start talking about how he hasn't been impressive.
Yeah, well, he hit that one.
Nailed it. Temper Fate straight into the Cosmic Binding. Haru with the patience on the cask, and they get a pick.
And, you know, through things like that, CJ has managed to keep the game fairly close.
It's the Drakes, though, that are really the problem. And it's also, it's not like CJ has really been in control. They're responding to pressure from Samsung. And as long as that continues to occur, eventually Samsung is going to find an opportunity to take the Baron with 2 Mountain Drakes. It's super dangerous. Samsung really just needs to recall and get some wards and increase their vision control over this game.
They need to kind of calm down a little bit. They had a good early game, looking a little bit shaky here in the mid lane now. But things could still go well late if they just sort of chill out a bit.
Yeah, CJ's picks are potent.
Potent picks.
They were potent pickers this game.
That's right. Iteration. CJ taking the opportunity to grab some vision around the Baron pit. Another Mountain Drake on the way, so if Samsung picks that up, things like Baron, things like turrets are going to fall extremely quickly.
Yeah, there's pretty much no hope for CJ if that happens. Gotta make the most of it while he can still contest a Baron, possibly. CJ is slowly losing vision in the river. Okay.
Checking, checking. gets the red buff. And so it's kind of like what we talked about. Samsung, I mean, they know that next Mountain Drake is coming in about a minute now, so it's probably in their best interest to just do as much as they can to set things up to take that.
It will be huge for them. It's another tool to make their split push increasingly unstoppable.
Yeah, gotta be careful not to get caught here again, but they'll take the turret down so fast. It's really not gonna happen.
You need such a small amount of time with a couple of these Mountain Drakes with turrets.
Yeah, that's why getting a third is really the beginning of the end for CJ, you think.
All hope rests in Kramer, which is the truth of CJ's existence in 2016.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's kind of common these days as far as a CJ needs this to win theme.
He's got the farm, he's got the items. And he's got the Tom Kench to help save him. He's got to do the work.
Dragon is coming up in 5. And aha. Samsung spots CJ. CJ's got to just go on this Mountain Drake right away, I think. Yeah, they're going to start it. Samsung, though. And they actually look like they just want to give it up to go up the mid lane. Sort of. They don't have a minion wave there, though. That was kind of awkward.
Yeah, really waiting on a minion wave. Nice delay there on the Trundle Pillar. That was well done.
All right, so can they? No, they can't even get that tier 2. Not sure that was worth it. Tempered Fate comes through. Hits Wraith and Ruler. CJ might find an opportunity here. They catch Sky, though, with a ton of CC. Untara bails him out at the last possible moment.
But Samsung just giving him a runaround. They already had the side wave prepped in the top lane. Now they can just move on through. Take this instead. Wraith doing a great job of running interference and making it impossible for CJ to actually defend. So a turret though, but Mountain Drake for CJ.
Yeah, was it worth it to give up that Mountain Drake?
Hard to say.
It seems like, I mean, do you sense a little, oh, okay, teleport coming in. CJ gonna try to make a play here. But I think everybody's already gone. Yeah, all right.
Wraith beast out of there.
I was gonna say, Untara wasn't really a play to be made there.
They thought they were going to be able to catch Wraith, but he already had made it back into his own jungle.
Yeah.
Sloppy from CJ.
All right, well. It's all about the Baron now. CJ does at least get the Rift's color, so that's something. Kuve just split pushing. Here comes CJ.
Take a look at this Baron.
It seems like Samsung doesn't. Okay, they're gonna. CJ pops Sivir ultimate, chasing Samsung away. I'm not sure who they.
Wraith has been a slippery troll this game, but without TP and no Abyssal Voyage, how are they going to stop this Gnar split push? Ping's coming in right now onto the bot lane from Samsung. CJ cannot maintain this pressure.
I was gonna say, I was wondering where the long plan was for CJ here.
Tar has to go back.
Yep.
With no TP, and he gets delayed, so I guess Gnar is going to get some free turret damage. Continuous pings from Samsung. Juve
That's a lot of turret
smacking his head. Yep, well, 2 Mountain Drakes, you know.
That'll do.
That'll do, Gnar. That'll do.
That'll do. Gnar. Yep.
Tara makes his appearance. Still a while to wait on the Abyssal Voyage, so Samsung should just do this Baron.
Yeah,
They need to legitimately threaten it, and there's still wards in the pit.
Here they go. Here they go. Here they go.
Okay, so we're gonna bait
There
it.
they go.
All right.
Here we go. Here comes CJ. Mad Life again as that Tempered Fate could end up being pretty big. There it is. Gonna save the Baron for the moment. Teleport coming in for Kube, though, splitting up that CJ team. Haru goes in looking for the steal, does not get it. Baron goes to Samsung. Crown, very low health, having to back away, but he's safe for the moment anyway. Ruler very low as well. There's a kill coming in for Crown, sniping from the side of the pit. Sky gonna pop that Zhonya's. Takes a death ray to the face at the end as Ruler picks up that kill. And with his low health, as so many of the Samsung players goes, it really is amazing that that went as well as it did for Samsung there.
Well, it was a 5v4 because Untara was waddling his way across the map, and the only thing he accomplished was to save Madlife in the end. And now the Baron has been taken. Samsung playing this out meticulously after that team fight mistake that they made. They're going to snatch up so many of these turrets on the push.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 2 inhibitors here, and I wonder if they're just going to keep pushing. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of risky if they did. Yeah, I think 2 inhibitors you can be pretty happy with.
Yep. Just take that gold. Make sure you actually turn it into real items at a real advantage instead. 2 minutes until the next Drake. See if you can snag that. It will be like another elemental Drake, just barely coming in before the 35-minute mark. Oh, there's an Elder Dragon next. Never mind.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's a minute and a half left. I can't math.
Well, welcome to my world.
So you see Untara here. He's just not able to get over. Still doesn't have the Abyssal Void, so the timing was great. Tried to buy a little bit more of it, but Cube comes in with nearly a full Gnar bar. Haru gets in the pit. Close there on the smite away. But regardless, Samsung was going to win that team fight immediately thereafter. Kramer just tries to pick up a kill in the back of the pit. He gets a little bit desperate, hopes for the lucky ricochet that would net him something, but just can't quite deal with the 4v5, especially once the Baron buff goes over to Samsung.
Yeah, so that Elder Drake coming up in about 45 seconds now. In the meantime, Samsung just using that Baron buff to go for the final inhibitor.
Those are going to disappear quickly.
All right, Tom Kench. Tara bringing Sky in the back, going in for the big hemo play, gets caught up pretty immediately. Only gets the ult on a Ruler here, who stays alive just fine. A couple of kills for Samsung. Tempered Fate goes through. Madlife, though, pays with his life. And that Chaos Storm doing so much. Double kill, triple kill now for Crown. And that is it. No way Kramer can defend his base. And Samsung, despite a couple small missteps in the mid-game, will end up closing out game 1 pretty smoothly.
Yeah, they changed it up, realized what they had done wrong. It was just objective play from there on out. They snowball the victory, and that's going to be it. Samsung wins game 1 tonight.
Yep. And kind of what you'd expect, you know. I mean, I feel like the opportunities CJ had were due to, 2 things, either a mistake from Samsung or a nice play from Madlife.
Yep.
Aside from that, not a lot going on in the CJ side of things.
Yeah, just an overcommitment from Samsung, trying to move things more quickly than they needed to and not paying attention to the fact that the double Mountain Drake meant that they really just shouldn't be team fighting at all. Just play for side turrets and the Baron.
That's right.
Eventually they got there, and that will be a win. So Samsung now looking to close this out 2-0, and like you say, raise their spot in the rankings to number 3.
Yeah, they can jump up to 3rd for the moment anyway.
Yeah, that does put them outside of the wild card match, which takes place between the 4th and the 5th team, so that would be a best of 3 that they would not have to play at the end of the season. And that's what's so valuable about these playoff seedings in the Gauntlet format. You just want to play as few games as you can.
Tough times for CJ, though. We'll see if they can muster any sort of resistance. Samsung in game number 2. Do not go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with the last game, potentially, of the night here on LCK Summer, right after we take a look at some of the damage done to champions.
Crown still, of course, topping that chart. He's fallen out of his first place at damage per minute, but when you play so much Victor, you're still going to be really high damage to champions. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, Samsung looking like Samsung. Solid for the most part, a few mistakes here and there. If you do that against teams like KT and SKT, it costs you. Against CJ, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, CJ did what they could to come back. It was nice of them to capitalize on those errors, but they were never really in control of this game at any point.
Very true. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Game number 2 between Samsung and CJ Entus here on LCK Summer. on OGN. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.